Welcome, all Helldivers, to a series based off of the Weapon Academy from a Team Fortress 2 series ran by a skewered fish, or something like that. If this does well, then I'll make a video based off of whatever you fellas suggest I do next. Now, enough with that boring filler nonsense. On to the reason why you're here. The HMG. Fellas, my wife may have left me, but luckily my shattered heart was made whole by this succulent piece of super earth weaponry. This weapon has so much love it can give you, and it's shown mainly in the stats. Support weapon allows this big girl to be easily stationed on your back. Help pod means that anytime she's available, call her and she shall come to you. Stationary reload allows you to take long moments of lovingly staring into her charging handle. And finally, most importantly, the massive load of heavy armor penetrating rounds. Strange tensions aside, heavy armor penetration is a good stat. However, it particularly shines against the bots, whose main strength is their heavy armor. Now that means that practically every bot will bend the knee to the glory of the HMG. If my words are lost on you, then here, a tier list on how effective the HMG is against every automaton enemy. The two basic units practically go down in a single bullet. The regular Devastators are just ever so slightly beefier ground units. The Walker's only real threat is the mounted missiles they have in higher difficulties. Chainsaw guys are only an issue if you have to whip around to shoot them. Moving up to the next tier, the Rocket Devastator's only threat is the rockets knocking you around. That stops you from shooting. The shield guys you have to somewhat precisely aim at, so make sure you bring some good recoil reduction armor. As for the Hulks, the HMG versus the Hulks is the reason why I'm making this video. This HMG is a Hulk's worst nightmare, no matter the range. I could show you the clips I have of me taking down Hulks with this beauty all day, but we've got other enemies to cover. Tanks are only an issue because they typically keep their weak spot hidden away from you. If a teammate's taking the heat from a tank, be sure to fill that glowing weak point with some heavy lead. Factory Striders, not top of the list, and for one reason. I've actually taken down a handful of Factory Striders with the HMG, just by getting under it and dumping a mag and a half. The only issue is actually getting under it. If you can find a Factory Strider without its major weapons, it's pretty much free real estate, as it can't move its legs fast enough in a manner to kill you while you're under it. The only bot the HMG can't handle are the Flyers. They move too fast for the slow aiming of the weapon, combined with a flare in your eyes and the rockets to throw you off target. They're just the worst type of enemy to fight with this weapon in my opinion. This weapon, although a gift from the gods, does not come without its price. In the footage I've shown so far, I've been using armor that reduces recoil while crouching, and this weapon still kicks like a mule. The low magazine count means that you'll have to either call down supplies really often, or live off the land and find ammo crates at spots of interest. Its slow turn rate means you can't whip it around to shoot enemies behind you as fast as you could the Stalwart. However, I think the upsides compensates more than enough for its downsides. Now I hear you ask, Mason's Forge, you've only talked about that one faction where its heavy armor penetration is strongest. What about the other factions?
We don't talk about the other factions.
Simply put, the Bug's whole tactic is to swarm you. A slow-to-turn gun with a low magazine count can't compete with all that. It's not too hot against the armored Terminids either. Because, well, this is not anti-tank. Same deal can be said with the Squids. It's a bit better since they don't exactly have armor, and it's decent against the Striders. But there are better weapons to use against these guys. I have only 3 pieces of advice to give to new players picking up this beautiful, beautiful HMG. The first one is to shoot your shots in bursts. This is to help deal with the intense recoil of it all. Second is to be extremely ammo savvy. If you know that you are close by to an ammo pack, don't be afraid to reload your mag if it's on half. However, if your mag is on half and you're not close to an ammo pack, make as much use of those bullets as you can. My final piece of advice is to not let it all go to your head. The HMG's power and stopping force will make you feel like a god. However, this is only half true. You wield the godly power of the HMG, but you yourself are still quite a fragile little helldiver. Be mindful of your surroundings, and just because you have an unstoppable force does not mean you can beat every immovable object. Before I end this video off with a heartfelt farewell, I must deeply encourage you to try the HMG with backpack items, especially the jump pack, because there is nothing quite as satisfying as suddenly pulling up on some armored bots and mowing them down with the HMG. The HMG is a gun that will get you through the thick and the thin with the bots. It will hold its own, and as long as you treat it with some love and respect, it will always come through for you, no matter the situation. This is the Mason's Forge, signing off.